You came to school early. You sat in the building with a waterfall going on around you, and you still chose to sit there. Y'all are slow. Y'all are really slow. I wouldn't even be stepping foot in that building. My mama got one child, and I respect myself. Respecte that moi. You cannot pay me to walk into a flooded building. That's when I realized, oh no, I can't be in this environment full of idiots. Yeah, pure idiots. You're telling me not only does the school have no heat and we've been leaving early, specifically because we have no heat, now the school is a freaking swimming pool. All right. At this point, we could swim there instead of Brighton Beach. And instead of saying, hey, we're going to close the school for the day, you're saying, go back home. We're going to do virtual. Now, what time are we starting virtual? How are we going to do virtual? Most of us commute. Some of us drive.
The hell, like, who you think you are? Like, shit, we'll get a new coach in here real quick. Like, we'll get you fired real quick.
That was Cassandra. It's the audacity for me. It's the audacity of a lot of these kids. And I understand a lot of kids like to show off for each other. I've seen it. You know, there's no issues with that. But my thing is, don't be sitting there bitching and crying about not passing and trying to get your life together, and I'm trying to come up with a strategy for you. You said you need a job, you need this, you need that. And again, I'm trying to help you with that. But then when you're not with me and you're with your so-called friends who don't even really like you, you want to sit there and turn up on, oh,
we gonna get you fired.
I'm not helping you anymore. What do you think this is? What's good, y'all? Welcome to the finale. I really want to keep everything to this final part. However, if it does bleed into a part 6, so be it. Shout outs to those of you guys who have been with me since part 1. I appreciate you so much. If this is your first time seeing me, please make sure you run it back and watch the other parts because it is super entertaining, if I do say so myself. Also, you need to see the other parts in order to understand the full context. There are some things I'm going to go over, but a lot of things I'm not going to go over. And if you watch this video without watching the other videos, you're truly not going to understand anything that's going on. Special shout outs to those of you guys who have watched all of it, but a huge special shout outs to the kids who never gave me any issues. And most notably, shout outs to the people that have reached out to me who worked at this network, who worked at similar trash ass networks, and who did not judge me for telling my story. So that goes without saying. It is imperative for me to say that all of this is based on my personal experience. These are my personal stories. And if you don't like it, you don't have to watch. I said what I said. I meant what I said. And I'll say it again. If you don't like it, again, don't watch. Cry to your mama. Don't cry to me. Because quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. Like I said, I want to try to keep everything to this final part. And there's a lot of things that I mentioned in the previous part that are going to be expanded upon. I really try to keep everything in a timeline. But for this final part, it's going to be extremely difficult because there are some things I did skip simply because I want to make a dedicated story on them or because it didn't fit in the theme of said video. So please bear with me. Keep in mind, I may be popping in and out way more in this one because there's some details that I might have accidentally left out. Before you leave, while you're watching, please make sure you guys like, share, and or subscribe, but most importantly, hype up this video. Let me not be rude. Shout outs to Mademoiselle. Happy Haitian Heritage Month. I know the uploads have been scarce, especially when it comes to this series. Literally, I have first dance wedding clients I'm working with. I'm teaching classes and then I'm performing. So there's a lot going on. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram or TikTok to keep up. So you guys are interested in anything I've been doing, here is a lovely QR code here on the screen. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. In the previous part, I highlighted the fact that I had a couple of nails in the coffin, but I'm going to be real here and telling you guys that I gaslit myself numerous times and I kept resetting the goals and resetting the standards. I kept telling myself, it's not that bad. You've seen worse. You could be somewhere dealing with this, or you could be somewhere else dealing with that. Not understanding that I was literally falling into the trap. Okay. I call it a disease. I can't say the name of the school, but I used to call it the disease. I'm always joking around with the people that I still talk to from that job. I'm like, oh, you got the disease. And you guys are probably like, Ivana, what is the disease? Okay. The disease disease is normalizing bullshit. Like, that's really what it is. Telling yourself that it makes sense that the adults are cursing at the kids, telling yourself it makes sense to be operating in a building with no heat when it's like 8 degrees outside, telling yourself it makes sense that these kids have violent tendencies and they're being enabled to continue to do so because they have no consequences for their actions, telling yourself that it makes sense that in a school setting they have no lockers, no dress code. Yo, like, basically just normalizing caca, okay? That is the disease, all right? I should make like a formal name for it because I feel like it's not even just specific to this school. I think a majority of these charter schools and public schools have this disease. But at least with the public schools, a lot of times, you know, there's someone you can call to complain and things get rectified eventually. When it comes to these charter schools, I realize a lot of people really don't give a fuck about these kids, right? You have kids that are in an underserved population who don't have the best parental supervision or guidance. Kids that are more than likely heavy into addiction, gangs, etc., who have diagnosed and undiagnosed mental health issues, who are going through a lot, who are going through more than most adults will ever go through in their lifetime, okay? And they've only been on earth for like a decade and a half or, you know, 2 decades if they are overage. But what I need to understand is, as an institution that serves these children, why don't y'all give a fuck more? Why don't y'all care more? And that's the shit that makes me mad, because anytime you speak up about these issues, they're going to look at you like, well, you know how these kids are. Well, you know, they don't come from a good home. Well, you know, you knew that. You chose to serve this population and you're doing them a disservice. I am of the opinion that a lot of these schools are built and put here in order to dumb up the Black and brown kids. I'm starting to think that a lot of these schools are here to continue the school to prison pipeline, because there is no way that this shit makes sense. You have a bunch of schools literally doing the same toxic shit to these kids, and the story repeats itself in almost every single one of these charter schools. I worked in so many different schools, a lot of them being charter, and I could only recommend one. One, like, literally. And the other ones, it's not that I quit. It was like, you know, I let the contract run out. Besides the one in Newark, I quit the one in Newark. Okay, I'm at this one now. I didn't get my contract renewed yet. My contract renews based on the performance of the children. My performance is on June 10th. But like in general, like even with this one and the Newark one specifically, these two are the worst ones. And it's crazy because anytime you try to say something, well,
You understand how these kids are. Well,
no, I mean, I understand. Do you understand? Because the fact that y'all really be out here treating these kids like pure garbage, and then they have no consequences for their actions, which is not setting them up well for the future. They can't read. Okay, they're not used to doing real work because they're being passed on. The list just goes on and on and on. And a lot of parents are thinking, oh, I'm sending my kids to an amazing school. This is an amazing environment. Oh, it's college prep. These kids are not learning jack squat. A lot of these kids can't even read a clock and they're in high school. I'm not even joking. I'm not over exaggerating. Like, this is like real life shit we're talking about here. And that's a video for another time. A lot of you guys think you're putting your kids in amazing schools and in safe environments. These schools are horrible. They just look good on paper. Ask your kids how their day was. Ask your kids how many teachers they had this year. Literally, I was talking to one of my 4th graders and she was like, yeah, this is our 5th teacher. Like, that's fucking nuts. Like, and that's what's really going on. And a lot of you guys will never know that because you don't care. You guys don't care that these teachers are quitting because they're having such terrible experiences and they're treating the kids like crap and they don't want to see it anymore. You don't care that your kid is nowhere near their reading level because they keep getting passed along. You don't care that your kids are sitting in a building with no heat and burst pipes. Yeah, you heard that right. I'm not joking and I'm not over exaggerating. Now, when it comes to the pipes, we're going to get to that later. The pipes burst in the school. And instead of leaving, these idiots sat here and waited to be told to go home. I've already prefaced in the previous parts that the school had no heat. So now we're really going to talk about it. Because I know there's some people watching this that are genuinely upset about what I have to say. But at this point, what I had to say pales into comparison of what a lot of people had to endure in this building. As I said numerous times, it was cold in that building. In the tri-state area in particular, we had a brutal winter. I'm talking about 8, 9, 10, 11 degrees, high of 15-degree winters, okay? So we were freezing. Imagine being cold as hell, getting to work, whether you're driving or in a train, in a bus, and then you come to school and there's still no heat. Now imagine this being every winter you have to deal with this, but nobody cares, okay? Nobody cares enough to actually make complaints. Some of us as employees definitely did call 311. I am one of them. What you gonna do about it? Why y'all got kids in a building with no heat? It's just like the people that were commenting on my video or hit me up personally like, oh, I went to this school that didn't have heat for years, or, you know, I was in school all the time that and they didn't have heat. And it's like, yeah, your parents didn't give a fuck about you. Were you telling your parents that they had no heat? Like, that don't make sense. Why the fuck are you going to school every day with no heat? This is like, the projects got heat. Why you don't have heat in the school building? Like, this is crazy. And that just goes to show that these kids really don't have anyone that cares about them. These schools try to act like they care and they're bridging the gap, but they don't. They're treating them just as bad as whatever's waiting for them at home. And it's such an issue to me because it, like, be so for real. It's not okay to be going to school without heat. I don't care whether you did it, you think it's normal. It's not. It's not at all. Maybe for one day, but not every winter. And a lot of us really couldn't manage. And a lot of us kept consistently complaining about this heat. To the point where I got called into a meeting about the fact that I missed 3 days in 4 months. Or 3 months. By the time it was 3 months. And that was a lot for a new hire. And I had to tell them, like, y'all have no heat and my asthma's acting up. Now what? Well, you can wear a hoodie. Or you can get some fucking heat. Because it doesn't make sense. You guys are raking in millions of dollars. All these charters raking millions of dollars every year. Yet there's budget cuts. There's budget deficits. Oh, we don't have money for this. We don't have money for that. Where's the money going? The teachers are underpaid. So where's the money going? We're cutting programs. We can't do this. We can't do that. We don't have a budget for this, that, and the third. But we've raked in millions. We keep getting sponsors. We're getting donors. All this shit. Meanwhile, we don't got money for basic shit. I am so fucking sick of it. And that's the main reason I decided to do this series, because I think a lot of you guys need to hear and understand that a lot of these schools are bullshit. They're lying to you. Your kids are not learning a goddamn thing. Even if some way, somehow they graduate and they make it into college, a lot of them will not finish. Why? Because a lot of them didn't learn anything. A lot of them can't read. A lot of them can't comprehend. A lot of them lack so many different skills that is your fault as a parent. But mostly these schools' fault because they were supposed to pick up the bill because that's what they claim they do. So I need y'all to understand, not all these charter schools are what they're cracked up to be. Don't think, oh, I put my kid in a charter, it's better than public. A lot of y'all have this giant misconception, and it is so far from the truth. I'd rather put my kid in a public school and deal with the consequences and be able to complain, okay, and get shit rectified than put my kid in a charter and not even understand what the fuck is going on because they do what they want. They hire teachers that are uncertified. They hire staff that is unqualified. They hire any and anybody with a pulse to counteract the deficit of teachers in the classroom. And the list goes on and on and on. And who ends up suffering for it? You and your child. So do not think that your child is doing the best because they happen to be at this school, that school, that school. I guarantee right now, if you go on Google and you Google the experiences that these parents and these children have had with these schools, you would be shocked. You would be sitting there with your mouth to the floor because the way these people act with these kids, the environments they have these kids in is not it. I realized that I had to get out of it when I started to normalize this behavior. Behaviors that I knew were not normal for children, for adults, and for the latter started to become normal to me. By this point, we are at the end of January, and literally I've become numb to the bullshit that I'm witnessing every day. The children crashing out, the adults cursing out the kids, the constant berating, belittling of very important issues. Eventually it just became, well, that's the school. Oh, well, that's the culture. And I had to like really catch myself every day. Like every day I would leave and be like, bro, no, that wasn't normal. I had to reassess. It got to the point where this was such a traumatizing experience. I had to start writing notes. And that's another reason it was kind of easier to go into this story time series, because if I was to sit down and actually try to tell this story organically, it would not work because there was so much going on in a given day. Every single day had one full page of notes. Okay. And there's a lot of things I did not cover out of privacy and respect for a lot of the people that I still talk to there. And also some of the students that I really did build a bond with. But when I'm telling you, the shit that's going on in these schools is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Like I said, I started to normalize a lot of the behaviors that were going on in the school. And by the time I realized it, I started to feel horrible. There was a day Coach Danielle and I had lunch and we were sitting in the office. Now, apparently there was a team that had a game that day in the middle of the school day. Don't ask me how, don't ask me why. I don't understand it. As I said in my previous part, a lot of times they would have games after school. Now, on this particular day, some way, somehow, no one told us nothing, but these kids had a game and they were livid that they lost said game. They come into the office. First of all, they're not really even supposed to just come into the office, especially like the entire team. But you know, some people, different rules for different fools. They come into the office while we're having lunch and they're mad. And I'm talking about so mad that they're so loud that you can honestly hear them coming from like the staircase through the hallway. Like I can hear the muffle. I'm like, what is that? By the time I look up, these kids bum rush the office. And one of them is so upset that they lost this game that he slams the door. And I'm not just talking about like, leave me alone, mom, slam the door. No, I'm talking about slams the door to the point where everything falls off the adjacent wall that me and Coach Danielle are sitting next to. And you guys are probably like, oh, hell no. Listen, regular me today would be like, oh, hell no. Me before this job would have been like, oh, hell no. Pick it up. I don't know who you think you are. Language, all of that. I didn't flinch. I didn't say anything. I sat there. Me and Coach Danielle literally went on as business as usual. We looked at them like, yo, well, what happened? What's good, y'all? Calm as hell. No, nothing. Now, you guys are either sitting here like, what the fuck is actually going on? Like, absolutely not. Or you're like, well, yeah, you know how these kids are. Nonetheless, thing is, the fact that I sat there and let that shit happen in front of me and I didn't have any reaction scared the hell out of me when I looked back at it. I was like, what the like the fact that this is so normal to me that I didn't even flinch is terrifying. I became numb to all of this. This is not normal behavior by any means. And anyone that tries to say that it is part of the problem as well. Normalizing these behaviors, normalizing these interactions and these blow-ups is what is going to kill this generation. I guarantee you in 10 years, I don't want to hear none of y'all complaining about this new generation because we told y'all time and time again, these kids don't know anything. No emotional regulation, no education in their brains. No, like a lot of these kids are suffering and it's only going to show in the future. Like I always make this joke of like, yeah, in the next 20 to 30 years, I need to relocate to another country. I'm not letting these fucking kids touch me in the hospital. These are the new nurses. These are the new lawyers. These are the new cashiers. A lot of them can't count. Like, I genuinely believe a lot of these schools were put here to dumb down the black and brown children. Okay. They are making submissive children that they're able to control as adults because these kids have no control over their lives. They're not going to be the leaders of anything. A lot of them don't even know the difference between there and there. Okay. A lot of them know nothing about handling their emotions. And it's scary because how are they going to survive in the real world? They're not. And mark my word, you heard it here first. A lot of it is all of our faults, okay? From educators to parents to the average adult that sees and understands this is happening and chooses not to do anything about it. This is more than just, oh, this is a bad school. This is a horrible place. No. This is something that I've seen everywhere, even to the Jewish schools that I've worked at. And I'll say they're probably the most like better off, but still like the emotional regulation, entitledness, the behaviors, it's like, yo, y'all not going to survive. Like these kids are not going to survive. And if they don't survive, we don't survive. They got to be the ones taking care of us. Okay. Y'all got to think about it this way. They're going to be the future. They're the next career people. They're the next degree holders if they could even get it. Because again, a lot of them can't read, so that happens. And I'm just sitting here like, this is crazy. Like it's starting to be normal to me. I'm starting to kind of like assimilate to this type of toxic behavior. But honestly, I didn't even have much time to really think about it because, it was too cold to think. I think my brain cells were frozen. Now you guys think I'm probably joking, but I'm not. Like it was so cold by this point. Like that final week of January, when I'm telling you so fucking cold, it was so fucking cold. There's so many receipts that I can pull up of people in the group chats talking about it's super cold in my room. I need a heater. Oh, you can't turn on the heater or else it's going to trip the breaker. Or, oh, the electricity is bad in this room, so you can't have a heater. Oh, blah, 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 move to this room, da, da, da. It got to the point where Principal Click Clack started to go around trying to assess what rooms were the coldest, what rooms were the warmest, and telling us to move to different rooms. And what really pissed me off is I felt like we were gaslighted this entire time prior to this. We've been telling you how fucking cold it was for months, and none of you guys seem to care. A lot of times this was met with, oh, it's not that cold, or oh, move to this room, or oh, we're getting it fixed. Oh, the landlord turned off the heat. Oh, there's nothing we could do about it. When I'm telling you, numerous responses were given that were not adequate responses to the reasons we had no heat. It was so fucking frustrating because the fact that we had niggas in the building for training and it was embarrassing that we had no heat. It was something that was ongoing before. I already told you guys, every year, this is something that happens. According to the staff that's worked there prior and according to the kids that's been in that building for years, every winter, there's an issue with the heat. Why is it that you're raking in millions of dollars and for some strange reason, you still have no heat? That is bare minimum. That is basic. It's not like you got lockers to maintain. It's not like you have uniforms to give out. It's not like it's not like you're serving the kids gourmet food or whatever the case may be. Like, I need to understand where the money's going because it's not really making sense. So while Principal Click Clack is doing these little inspections or whatever to see what rooms are the coldest, etc., she stumbles upon my office and she's like, "Oh my God, it looks a mess in here." And I'm like, "Yeah, pretty much." I don't even know how I happened to be in there. It was, you know what? It was the morning. So I would drop my stuff in there, but I wouldn't sit in there. So, she's like, it's way too cold in here, Coach R. If you want, you guys can go to league, etc. You guys can go in there. And she's like, yeah, you get your stuff now. You go over there. I'm like, yeah, nah. Like, it's just, I already know that wouldn't have worked out. Like I already said, it was different rules for different fools, and everybody liked to operate on okay, I told you to do this, but I didn't tell anyone else. So then now people would have been looking at me like, oh, why you in this league, but you in that league office? I don't have time for that. So I was like, yeah, it's whatever. And she made a comment like, oh, it's a mess in here. Like, it needs to be clean in here. Put a pin in that, right? Now, put a pin in the heat part. Let's discuss the office, right? I already told y'all the office was dirty and it stank. Most of the time it stank because Coach, what the fuck did I name him? Coach K? Okay, Coach K had his kids' sneakers up on the windowsill. Y'all already know, little boys stink. A lot of times it's not their fault. They're unaware. They're just learning about their bodies. They don't know much about. No, I can't even say anything. I forgot this is a fucking high school and a lot of them are overaged. Anyhow, the point is, it's an office. For whatever reason, there's kids' sneakers lined up on the windows, so it's not the best situation, okay? And because of this, me and Coach Danielle would kind of try to tell Coach K, like, hey, could you get the sneakers off the whatever? Or, there would be other people like, yo, y'all need to clean this up. Like, literally, since the time I did my interview, we were talking about how dirty it was. Like, literally, I did my interview and literally Coach, what's his name? Kassan, I named him, or Coach Caleb, whichever. I've been using them interchangeably. He was like, oh, I'm so sorry, Coach R. This is going to be clean, Coach R. Da, 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 da. We're going to take care of it, Coach R. This is going to be your desk, Coach R. Never got the desk. Shit never got cleaned. Okay, I ended up getting a desk later on because Coach Keisha was actually promoted. She ended up going to another league and she became like a primary coach. So you would think that, she would clean out the desk and I would get the desk and everything would be, that's what I would do. Personally, if I had a desk and I had to clean it out to move to another area, I would clean it out completely, wipe it down for the next person. But hey, I don't know. Maybe that's too much. Y'all let me know down below. I feel like that's home training. I'm not trying to say she had no home training, but I'm just saying, never felt like my desk because the desk was still full of shit that was not mine. I was always told not to touch shit that was not yours unless given explicit permission to do so. So I just never touched it. Again, I never cared to be in there. One day I told Coach K, like, hey, why is this office always a mess? Like, and I made it a little jokey. Like, I wasn't like being a dick about it. Like, oh, like, what the fuck? Like, it's dirty as hell in here. Like, I'm telling y'all, because it was dirty as hell in there. I was like, yo, like, this shit need to be clean. Why the fuck? And this is why, okay, in part 1, I said that Coach K and Coach, I don't remember what the hell I named him because I didn't really mention him. There's not much to say about him. That's the main reason I said they were misogynistic and chauvinistic. Besides, right, how they would talk about women and talk about their own wives and girlfriends. And just like little comments here and there that I'm not even gonna mention. Why Coach K gonna have the nerve, gall, audacity to be like, yeah,
when Coach Fernanda was here, she was taking care of everything and she was the one cleaning up the office. She made sure everything was right.
are you implying that I'm supposed to do that? Like, and I literally said, I was like, okay, so what, you expect me to clean this up? I came here with it dirty, therefore it's gonna stay like that. I didn't make this mess. And I started laughing, like, I don't know what you think this is. He's like, no, but I'm saying, like, like, she did everything. Like, so she was the one taking care of everything. And I'm like, she's bugging, won't be me. But even if that's the case, you guys, like, the thing is, all the stuff is y'all stuff. The stuff in the corner, these clothes in the bag right here near the desk that I was supposed to have, like, that's that's the athletic director shit. The sneakers, that's your kid shit. Your desk, for some reason, his desk always stayed pretty clean, but then his shit was all over the place. Like, that's shit oh my God, like, that's another story for another time. Which I'll probably never tell, but it was just like, be so for real. Like, for you to open your mouth and be like, well, Coach Fernanda did all of that. Like, y'all already know. If you know, you know. And the way she tried to say, like, oh, well, yeah, like, since she was the only woman in the office and, she was the only girl here, like, so she always did it. And it's like, girl's not the only one that clean up. And the thing that didn't help was I was the only femme in that office. Coach Danielle is a stud. Therefore, it's like, what y'all expect? Like, what the fuck? This shit gonna stay like this. It's gonna look like a Hoarders episode real fucking quick. I don't know what y'all think this is. If that's what you think this is, if that's the case, if you think, oh, I'm the girl, I gotta clean it, peace out. It's gonna stay like that. Let's talk about the next performance. Now, you guys probably like, Ivana, after that piss poor bullshit, they had the nerve to expect you to do another one. Of course they did, because they're delusional. As bad as things can be, right? And that's one thing I don't like. I hate toxic positivity. It's one of my pet peeves. Like, don't tell me something's good. Don't tell me something is going well when it's not. Okay, those kids did not deliver the best performance to the best of their abilities. And then they had the nerve, gall, audacity to talk about the kids have to perform for a Black History Month performance. You're not going to have me shaming the ancestors with these kids that don't even want to stretch. What the fuck type of Black History performance do you expect me to put on with these damn children? Start planning it. I decided, okay, maybe we could add some step in there. And let me just say, the kids actually genuinely enjoyed step. They really liked it. They really actually locked in when it came to teaching it. But other than that, everything else was a nightmare. They wanted to do all new stuff. Meanwhile, they didn't want to take the time to choreograph or learn anything that I put together. I gave them an opportunity to pick their songs and choreograph. They were slacking.
Oh, well, the day of, we gonna get it together. Oh, you should see us. We have standing ovations. Like, we got this, coach. It don't matter. Like, we don't gotta practice now. We got mad time.
We had about a month. A month is not a lot of time. A month is ideal for kids that actually are gonna lock in. But a month is not a lot of time, especially with the way y'all operate. Some of y'all not coming to school. When you come to school, you roaming. You come to school, you complaining. You getting sent home because you fighting. Like, no, a month is actually not a lot of time. So I'm sitting here trying to find the easiest songs, the easiest, whatever. And of course, they wanted to do a mix. As we're working for this Black History Month performance, we end up getting a new student. We're just gonna name her Kaylee, right? Yeah, we're just gonna name her Kaylee. Great kid. I was just like, listen, don't fall into the line of these kids. Don't fall in with these kids. They're gonna get you in some shit. Great kid, loved to dance. She was one of the other ones that would actually stand up and dance anytime it was time to dance. And there was, at one point in time, I was trying to teach her something, but it wasn't even going to be part of the dance. I was like, oh yeah, it goes like this, da da da, and I'm doing it. And mind you, I already told you guys numerous times, these kids love to walk out. A lot of times they walk out, come back, walk out, come back. They walked out, okay? It was Cassandra, Nala, Melissa, and Samantha. They all walked out. They walk back in. They see me teaching her this little mini thing. Like, it had nothing to do with choreography.
Oh, we don't like that. We don't like that.
What is there to like?
Oh no, that's the thing. We don't be liking your choreography. Like, we don't want to do that. Like, we need more of this.
Like they start twerking and shit. I'm like, that's not funny. Like, y'all not supposed to be, like, y'all already know y'all not supposed to be twerking and shit.
No, but see, like, I don't even understand. Like, like, we don't be liking your choreography. That's why we don't even be wanting to do it like that and shit. And like,
just talking at the mouth. I'm like, you don't even know what the choreography is because you haven't been here. The twerking and the inappropriateness of their choreography and the things that they really wanted to do was an issue. It even got to the point where Coach Kiana had to come tell them, like, yo, do you want to get her fired? Because, like, say if they had a piece that they were trying to show me, like, okay, we want to do this for the show, right? They would do it, and there's mad twerking, dropping it to the floor, doing all that. So I'm trying to modify, make things a little less, whatever, because I've said in numerous parts, the performances have been so bad that male staff couldn't even sit there. So, like they would sit there like, okay, I know you changing it, but we still gonna twerk anyway the day of the show. And like Kiana and I believe Coach Keisha had to come at her too, had to come at them like, bro, like, why would y'all say that? Like, do y'all want to get her fired? Like, this shit is crazy. Don't do that. Like, that's what got y'all last coach fired. So I just want you guys to understand, right? Technically, okay, I don't like to call myself a professional dancer, but technically I'm a professional dancer. I teach, I perform, I do classes independently via my nonprofit. Like literally, I practically dance for a living. I am never offended when anyone says that they do not like my choreography, because I feel like dancing is personal to whoever's doing it. If someone teaches you a dance, you're supposed to make it your own. So yes, not often. It doesn't happen often where, kids or students or clients or whatever are like, oh, well, we don't like this choreography. However, typically while we're making choreography, it could be like, oh, I don't really like this step. Could we change it? I've never been offended. A lot of dance teachers don't like that shit. And they'd be like, no, that's the step and you're doing it. I've never been like that. So don't even think that the disconnect was, oh, well, they didn't like the way you danced or they didn't like your choreography. That's why, it was a mismatch. I don't care. Hence why I let them do their own choreography and they still couldn't follow the assignment. Okay. They still couldn't get it together to put on cohesive performances and do choreography. Like it didn't make sense, or they would make something and they would forget, or they would not like it anymore. Now they want to change the song. It was just like, bro, we don't have time for this. Like I genuinely don't have time for this. Like if you don't like my choreography, fine, do your own. But like now you're doing your own and you can't even commit to that. What are we actually doing here? I was teaching her something that had nothing to do with our performance. To answer your question, I don't care what you like.
Oh, but this is our dance. This is our team.
I said, okay, and that's why you're supposed to make your dances. I let you guys do your own dances, right? And you still don't do that. You still take it upon yourself to go outside. At this point, I started getting annoyed because I'm like, y'all take it upon yourselves to go outside, to go do whatever it is you want. And then you come here like,
oh, I don't like that.
Like, are you well? Like, are you well? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, now we're starting to do a little back and forth. I was like, you know what? I'm not talking anymore. Because again, I don't do back and forth. And what annoys me is at this time, there was somebody just observing in my class, like literally just sitting there in the back corner. Didn't introduce herself. I don't know who the fuck she is and what the fuck she do. Okay, I found out later. But I was just like, why was she just sitting in my class and didn't say anything? Just pulled up unannounced. So this shit is making me look bad. They're going back and forth with me. I was like, you know what? This conversation is over. I don't care. If you guys don't like the dances, make your own dances. You don't like the music, make your own, pick your own music. I don't care. And then they started having issues with the whole Afro, started having issues because we tried to include some like Latin fusion stuff to it, like Bad Bunny and stuff like that, because that's not Black history. They're Hispanic. They're not Black. Honestly, considering there is an Afro Latina in the class, I tried to make it inclusive. So I understood their point, but she's still Black. Not Black American, but still Black. But nonetheless, when I'm telling you, I just got sick and tired of arguing about shit that didn't make NT sense. Like shit that, even if it did make sense to you, there's a way to verbalize it in a respectful manner. I just got tired of fighting. Like everything was a fight. Everything was an issue. I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm tired. So you wouldn't know this unless like you really watch me, but understand I do different styles of dance. I'm not just one thing. I do literally ballet, jazz, hip hop, modern, contemporary, bachata, merengue, Konpa, Afro, like the list goes on and on. I've been raised in so many different types of environments. I performed from different churches, community events, and school, to the point where I've picked up so many different dance styles and I've been literally perfecting and refining them for years. This past summer, I picked up majorette because I had a group of kids that were majorette kids and they were in the program that I was working for and they really wanted to do majorette performances. So I had two groups that did majorette. I had to learn super fast what I could because like I always liked it. I was familiar with the style, but if you guys are not aware, like majorette is a combination of different styles. You have to know your ballet, you have to know your hip hop, and there's a little bit of there's a lot of acro in there. So there's a lot of things you have to learn. So they didn't want to start from the basics, but in a general sense, like I am able to teach a majority of different genres and dance styles, and we really could have been out here. Like, we really could have had it together. So I don't want you guys to sit here and think, oh, I was forcing them to do Haitian dance, right? Or like I was forcing them to do hip hop, or I only knew one thing and I was like making them do this. I know multiple styles, and if I don't know something, because that's what happened with the majorette thing last summer, I'm going to take the time to learn it, to come and help you. Like, they didn't give me a chance. Now that I actually really think about it, and a lot of people kept telling me this, especially at the school, like, they didn't give you a chance. They're not giving you a chance. They're not letting you help. Because yeah, they kept going around talking shit about me, saying this, that, and the third, saying they didn't like me, saying I was the horrible coach. Like, I didn't do anything. And it's unfortunate. I literally only taught these kids for the audition. I taught them a step. And then 2 8 counts for whoever actually wanted to do it. Oh wait, no, maybe let's say 4 8 counts for let's count the other Christmas performance. I was never able to teach them anything, and I really want you guys to understand that. I don't want you guys to think that this is an over exaggeration. Like, I didn't get to do anything because they wouldn't let me. And for the people in the back, yes, I told numerous people that were supposed to help that this was happening, and they did not help. Additionally, I do have to add, right, that these children were ridiculously xenophobic. Like, I've never met xenophobic children. Like, the amount of disrespectful they were to other communities was just crazy. Like, and not even just regarding dance and music. It would be like, say they're playing something in global or like in theater arts, right? And it'd be something with like another country or another language. You'd be like, oh, like, shut this ching chong shit up. Like, yo, we don't know what the fuck these ching chong saying. Or like, oh, like, damn, like, nobody give a fuck about that Spanish shit, speak English. Like, oh, like, dumb Africans, like, don't nobody want to do no African shit. Like, I just used to sit there and be like, nigga, what? Like, and obviously everyone would come at them for that, tell them to stop or whatever. But like, let's be real, these kids would never stop. Like, and it was just like embedded in their personalities. Like, I personally never experienced anything like that, especially living in New York, Brooklyn at that. Like, for y'all to be xenophobic, man, so that's the type of shit I was dealing with. So like, I'm a very diverse person. I'm very big on diversity and inclusivity. So that shit was like a culture shock to me. I was raised around different people. I done so many different type of dance styles. So like, that shit, I was just like, what the like, bro. And it really came out more so in dance, like, because they just only wanted to do majorette. Like, even like, you would think, okay, well, maybe they just like black dance styles. No, they didn't give a fuck for hip hop. They didn't. I mean, they tolerated R&B if it was Chris Brown, but no other. Like, it was just, child, really difficult. And then what really took the cake was they had the audacity. Oh,
well, we gonna call our old coach. We gonna call Coach Galaxy, cause like.
Yeah, we really want to get this going, and we want to learn this step, and we forgot this step, and like, yeah, she danced to this song before.
Mind you, I picked the song that apparently Coach Galaxy had them dancing to, but they forgot the choreography, and instead of making their own or trying to do what I planned, oh, nah, fuck that. Like, we gonna call Coach Galaxy. Is that not disrespectful? The coach that was out here hiding your drugs and being very inappropriate and being ghetto by all accounts, you want to go call her? I'm out. Indeed. Don't play with me. Y'all say y'all gonna get me fired. You gonna call your coach. Y'all rude and disrespectful. You don't like my choreography. You don't like anything I'm doing, then bye. I don't care. And the thing is, to say you don't like my choreography isn't the problem. I'm not even offended by that. It's the fact that you're not even letting me do anything. You're not trying anything. And then you're bitching and crying and complaining. It doesn't make, I've never seen anything like that in my life. So it is what it is. That's it. There's nothing more I can say. I'm not fighting for my life to do something I truly care to do, that I do every single day and that I get paid to do. So yes, it is what it is with that. And then that's when they had the nerve, gall, audacity again to ask if the kids wanted to compete. Now you guys probably like, Ivana, compete. Compete. This is the shit that really pisses me off. The delusion and the toxic positivity is one thing, but it's just like, at this point, I thought they were playing in my face. Like, it's like, what these kids, like, I keep telling y'all how bad I'm struggling with these kids. You saw 2 of them fell during a performance. Okay? And y'all got the nerve to be asking me if I want these kids to compete. Like, no, I don't fucking want these kids to compete. Now, apparently it was the deans that had some sort of connection with someone, and they were asking if the kids wanted to compete. And all the dance teams were supposed to participate, God willing. But to be honest, I automatically said no. And then, like, Coach Kiana is like, oh, well, maybe you should let them do it. And I'm like, bitch, you know how hard it is to work with them? And she's like, yeah, you right. I don't know. Like, let me know, blah, blah, blah. Because I think my kids are going to do it. Because you already know she had the Panthers. The Panthers was eating or whatever. So she would have been fine. But even at that, they would need to be whipped into like a certain amount of shape to be able to compete. Like, competition is completely different from a regular showcase or a performance. Like, you have to put in an extensive amount of work on technique and tightening things up. Like, when you put on a show, you just put on a show. You just got to make sure, the energy there, your stamina, but like competitions is your technique. Like, it's how straight are your arms, how straight are your legs. And they claim they want to be a majorette team, but okay. Anyhow, it just didn't make sense to me. So I was like, you know what? As their coach, I have to do my due diligence in letting them know that this opportunity is available. Therefore, I went to them and I told them, and of course, oh my God, yes, let's compete. And I'm like, oh my God, the delusion. The delusion is delusioning. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Whatever. I mean, I guess. Like, I don't think it's a good idea. What do you mean, coach? Like, we could dance. I'm like, I never said y'all can't, but you guys have no discipline. Like, I've been telling you guys since day one, y'all want to stretch. Y'all don't want to do what y'all need to do. But
Stretch for what? Like, this not even about all that. Like, you doing too much.
it is. You can't want to be a dancer and you telling me you don't know much about stretching. Like, there's days I don't do any dancing and I still get up and stretch because I'm a dancer. I perform. I got to keep my body warm. I got to keep it nimble. So what are you actually talking about? It has nothing to do with it. Like, I'm not about to argue. I don't have time. Then one of these kids, I think it's Melissa.
Oh my God, we should compete with the Panthers. Like, oh my God, like,
yes, yeah. And then all of them start echoing this sentiment.
yes, let's compete with them.
I'm like, with them? Yeah, like, we could just be one big team and then like we'll battle like, whoever else is there. Y'all already know. I already told y'all, like, the Panthers was on a whole nother level, and I knew that they would have said no to this immediately. But I was like, you know what? As their coach, I have to do my due diligence. I went to them during their practice. I pitched the idea, and the Panthers looked at me like, but some of them were like, oh, no, like, all right, you know what? Maybe just Melissa, maybe just Samantha. Okay, maybe this one, maybe, some of them were kind of being nice, but a lot of them was sitting there like, no, absolutely not. And then that's when, Coach Kiana was like, when we gonna have time? Like, their dance session is literally during like 2 of their core sessions that they need to graduate. It's never gonna work unless we stay after school. And I'm not staying here. I said, I ain't staying here either. I don't got time for none of that shit. Like, I'm not staying here. I don't live here. And even if I did, it's like, it's not gonna be worth it. Like, y'all play around during the school day. Y'all gonna play around after school. Like, I'm not about to do that shit. So she's like, yeah, fuck it. So we both was like, yeah, nah, fuck it. We're not doing it. The kids don't seem too enthusiastic. Some way, somehow, these kids, I think it was my kids, went to go speak to the Panthers about the whole situation. And then the word got out that, the Hellcats wanted to dance with the Panthers, but the Panthers didn't want to dance with them. But they only want this one. They only want 2 of these kids. They only want 1 of these kids, da da da. So it started to hurt certain people's feelings because, they started to feel like, niggas was talking shit about them not being able to dance. Didn't I tell y'all since part 1 that people were talking shit about them not being able to dance? Okay. I stand by my statements that every single one of those kids can actually dance. They're just lazy and they are undisciplined. That's it. There is nothing that these kids need to do except apply themselves and they will be solid. They can dance. But nobody gives a fuck if you don't look like you can dance. If you sit there, you bitch, cry, and complain, you don't want to stretch, you don't want to do bare basics, and then when you perform, you look like a sloppy cheeseburger, then everybody's going to say that you can't dance even though you can. That's just the fact of the matter. People are going to go based off results, not potential. It's unfortunate, but that's just what it is. And at the time, these kids didn't even have a captain, so it's like, you guys want to do a battle, but we don't even have a captain. If I'm not mistaken, this probably would have been like a majorette style type of competition. And I'm only saying that because it's like, they're majorette teams. What else is they going to do? They couldn't do anything else. They could barely do the majorette. So I'm like, y'all don't even have a captain. Now you guys are probably like, well, Ivana, why didn't you ever pick a captain? Oh, let's get into the whole captain situation real quick now, shall we? So when it came to captains, we were supposed to have auditions. We did have auditions, but we never settled on a captain. Why did we never settle on a captain? Because Melissa liked to say that she was the captain. She don't give a fuck about no auditions. And everybody was afraid of Melissa and didn't want to step on her toes. And personally, I just didn't want to have to deal with it. To be quite honest with you, Melissa is a very good dancer, but she's not the best dancer. The only reason she comes across as the best dancer is because she makes up all the dances and she can only do the dances that she makes. When it comes to picking up choreography and stuff like that, she's not that great. In my personal opinion, Alexis was the best dancer on that team, followed by another student who I never named. I mean, she never really gave me that many issues. I'm actually shocked. Like, I'm looking at my list and my notes. I'm like, I never named her. So we're just gonna name her. Jenna. Okay. Jenna has this thing where all of them have this thing. All the kids in the class knew how to dance, but they would be highly intimidated, and felt like embarrassed or felt like they would be made fun of by Melissa, Samantha, and some of the other kids. So a lot of times they would not dance full out. And it was so disappointing because they could dance. Jenna would make up a lot of the dances as well. And she made a pretty good choreography. She would listen. Okay. Jenna and Alexis always listened when it came to dance. They were the only ones up consistently every fucking day. Okay. Like, they were the only ones. And that's why I wanted them to be captain and co-captain. I wanted Alexis to be captain and I wanted Jenna to be co-captain. Alexis killed her audition. It was amazing. Jenna did okay. She could have did better. I was very disappointed. And that's probably why I was like, ugh, maybe not like captain, but like co-captain, and then possibly, or maybe like manager or something, because she didn't have that confidence yet. I don't think that she should be called a bad dancer because she's not confident. Like, being in that class, y'all, like, me as an adult, I felt uncomfortable and I didn't want to be my true self. Like, the way y'all seeing me right here, I was nowhere like that with those kids. I was deadpan. I was chilling because it was just like, what do you want me to do? Like, it comes to a point. And that's why it kind of bothers me, right? Like, when people be like, oh, well, these teachers be quitting because they can't handle their class. They can't manage their class. It has nothing to do with that. It's the fact of the matter of, if you instill consequences for children that are not being followed up by admin, there's no point. If you sit there and you tell these kids, you're going to have to do 100 push-ups if you do this, and they're not doing it, and they say, fuck that, I don't care, they crash out, they go to the dean and they start snitching and saying da-da-da. Now, that didn't happen to me, but I'm saying, I know for a fact, if I told these kids 100 jumping jacks because you didn't change today, they're not doing that. They're going to be looking at me like, bitch, you do the jumping jacks. And there's been times where I'd be like, okay, you guys going to do this. Girl, you do that. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. So how do you expect us to, like, I'm trying to, I genuinely want to understand, how do you expect us to be able to do that if they say no and then they just go and complain and then they just don't do it? And that's what happens in a lot of these school environments. You have a lot of teachers that are really talented, that are really good at what they do, but at the end of the day, we are not drill sergeants and we are not COs. You are in school to learn. You are here because you want to be a dancer and you're going to do the shit or you're not. I'm not fighting you. I don't fight kids to dance. I've been forced to dance a lot of times and it hasn't been a positive experience. And I've always told myself and vowed I'm never going to make kids dance. If you want to dance, dance. If you don't, no, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Take the 0. That's a me thing. But in a general sense, like, if I'm a math teacher and I'm trying to get these kids to do the work, or, I'm a gym teacher and the kids don't want to do the drills and I'm trying to instill a consequence and it's not followed up by admin or whatever, like, yo, I'm not doing all that shit. So whatever, we end up having the auditions. I ended up recording it, showing it to the people that weren't here so they can vote. Like, it was a vote. The votes actually went to Alexis. I never disclosed this because there was so much that went on after. But the votes actually went to Alexis. There was a good amount of people that did vote for Jenna. So Jenna, I was going to make like the manager, and then I wanted Alexis to be captain, and I didn't want Melissa to be captain at all. I've said this numerous times. And what really solidified it was the fact that she didn't show up to the performance. She and Samantha claimed that they were sick. I don't believe it. I believe maybe one of them was sick and the other one didn't come because the other one didn't come because they're besties. But nonetheless, you're the captain. You could have at least contacted someone to say, hey, I know we have a performance today. I'm not coming. Instead, you just chose not to come. You didn't say anything. And then you acted like everything was normal, and it's not. I can't have a captain like that. You're walking out all the time. You just make choreography, then you forget the choreography because you leave and you're walking around and you're gallivanting. You're rude. Like, I personally, like, if y'all know anything about extracurriculars, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The captain is not always the best dancer on the team. Like, a lot of times it has a lot to do with the other values and principles of just being a decent person. Unfortunately, in my personal opinion, Melissa was not the best candidate. And I said this. And the day of the performance, I got annoyed and I was like, bro, the fact that she's not here is crazy. Like, how you captain, you're not here. And these kids ran back and told her. And then we came back from Christmas break, and Melissa gonna try to press me like I was gonna be scared and renege on what I said.
She gonna literally be like, oh, Coach R, I heard you was talking about me. I heard you said that I shouldn't be captain or whatever.
I said, yeah. And she looked like I would like, she kind of looked back like, oh, like, I'm like, yeah, like I did. Oh, well, why would you say that? You had a performance in which you did not show up for and didn't say anything to anyone. Came in here as if it was normal, didn't say anything. Like, you basically let your entire team down. Like, that's messed up. It was supposed to be 12 of y'all, only 8 of y'all showed up. That's unacceptable. And you're supposed to be the captain. So, I mean, that goes without saying. Oh, but you know I was sick. Okay. Like, I just looked at her like, okay. Like, I'm not gonna fight with you. Y'all already know. You know how many times I've fucking done performances with pneumonia, with strep throat, all types of goofy shit, freaking migraine out the wazoo. Like, girl, bye. Okay, I'm not saying like, you know, she should kill herself to do a performance, but I'm just saying it shows your sportsmanship, tenacity, or a lack of thereof when you just do not show up for a performance and don't say anything to anyone. So ever since then, I just never cared about the captain thing, because captain for what? Y'all can't even stretch. I'm gonna keep saying that. Y'all can't even stretch. Who gives a fuck about who's captain and who's not? At the end of the day, y'all can't even do the basic things. So this whole idea of competing just truly pissed me off. And I was so happy that we didn't have to do that or the Black History Month performance, because we weren't even in the building. God for that. Because eventually we ended up having half-day schedules because it was so cold in the building. And Principal Click Clack allegedly had to fight for this for us because they were genuinely not believing that the building was that cold. They did not believe that it was that bad. And what's interesting is, right, I had got intel. I don't know how true this is, but I got intel that because another one of these networks buildings was so cold that the kids were actually doing virtual. So I was just a little confused. I'm like, how the fuck is it that we still have to come to school? Meanwhile, there's another school in the network that's doing virtual because it's so cold in their building. That's absolutely crazy. Now, I understand the whole qualms with virtual school, especially since COVID. A lot of these kids just be doing whatever the fuck they want. I get it, okay? They do virtual. They're not going to really do work. They're not going to come on. I understand the sentiment. But it comes to a point where it's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I was so cold. And that's the thing, like, y'all need to know about me. I'm a winter baby. I prefer the cold. I don't do heat well. I'm one of those people that rarely turns on the heat in the house. Like, I can live in a colder environment, but not when it's fucking 8 degrees outside and it's consistently cold and I'm coming in from really cold weather and inspecting something a little more comfortable. Like, so that's how you know it was cold, because I'm almost never cold. So if I'm saying it's cold, it's fucking cold. And these half days, not even real half days, we leaving at like 1:30, 2 o'clock. The regular dismissal time is like 4. So is it really a half day? It's the same thing with the school that I work at now. They get out like 1:15, but okay, 1:15 is not that bad. That's kind of half. But back in my day, when we had half days, we was getting off at 12:30-ish. Okay, so I don't know. For me, at that point, what's the point of even like leaving early? Just stay till 4 o'clock. But hey, I wasn't complaining too bad. Here's the thing. You would think that, oh, they decided for us to have a half day and they planned it like, you know, it was probably Tuesday. And then they said, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're going to leave early at 2 o'clock. No, that's not what happened, my friends. You know what ended up happening? All of us in our league, okay, all of us in my league were having our sports session, okay? I was in dance, Coach Danielle's in volleyball, Coach K's doing whatever. Like, all of us are doing our sports session, and then we find out we're leaving early, like within 30 minutes, and they're practically rushing us out of the building. Now, again, they didn't tell us that this was going to be a thing. Like, literally, I checked the group chat, and it says, get ready to dismiss at 2:30. Make sure your teams have everything with them. You know what's crazy about this? They had the nerve gall audacity to say, don't tell the kids. They literally said, don't tell the kids yet. We're dismissing at 2:30. Make sure you bring everyone downstairs. Like I just said, all these kids are in the sports sessions. Some of the kids need to change. A lot of the kids, since the school has 0 lockers, they keep their stuff in the teachers' classrooms. Some of the kids are, you know, again, different rules for different fools. Some kids go to this place to do sports. Some kids go to that place to do sports. So it's a lot going on. So I'm like, how the fuck are we going to dismiss in 30 minutes? Additionally, right after, we're supposed to have lunch. So it's like, I'm not understanding. So are they going to go to lunch and then just be dismissed from lunch? And like, okay, whatever. As I've always maintained in the previous parts, I am by myself. And since I'm by myself, I cannot leave the kids. So I got to figure this out. The kids have to get their stuff so we can be dismissed. The problem is I have kids that like to roam, kids that like to do what they want, kids that don't listen to anybody, not even God. So some of them are with Dean such and such and Dean such and such. Some of them are in this office doing whatever. This one's doing this here. So I'm like, fuck, okay, I gotta find these kids. So I'm on the walkie like, okay, redirect, da-da-da, find, da-da-da, whatever. I can't physically go get them. I'm with a majority of the classroom in the classroom at this time. Now, you don't want me to tell the kids, we're in the middle of dance. We're supposed to be going to lunch, but we're going to dismiss them, but I can't tell them this. This don't make no goddamn sense. And on top of that, they wanted us to do dismissal posts still. Now, I already kind of highlighted dismissal posts. Basically, we all get a corner to stand on, and basically we have to just make sure the kids go home, like they don't stash any drugs or they don't just linger around the neighborhood. So I'm like, okay, so you want me to walk out and do these dismissal posts, but you want me to dismiss the kids at the same time. That doesn't make sense. So do I need to be at post or do I need to be with these kids? And then what happens to the kids that I that are just roaming around? Like at this point, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm frustrated because it's like they're kind of being like assholes about it because they're just on some, oh, well, like we're trying to leave and da 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 da. Like they're in the chat basically talking. They're on the walkie's going off. I'm like, all right, guys, we gotta go. The kids is asking me questions, but they literally just told me don't tell the kids. So I didn't tell the kids. So I'm like, we're going to the caf, but y'all need to go get y'all stuff. Like, so I'm like, if you need something in a classroom, if you need something wherever, like you need to make sure you go get it now so that like, you know, you can have it with you at lunch. Why? For what?
Oh my God, that's not word. Like,
What?
All this fucking like, and I'm like, yo, just get your shit. Whatever. They go, they get their stuff. We're going downstairs. I make sure I drop my kids off in the cafeteria because there's multiple adults at this point. Like all the staff is downstairs in the cafeteria so the kids can dismiss from there. And I'm like, shit, I need to get my stuff because again, they're expecting me to do dismissal posts, but they're also expecting me to dismiss the kids at the same time. Understand, dismissing the kids and dismissal posts is not the same thing. When you do a dismissal post, you're already outside before the kids leave. When you're dismissing the kids, you're with the kids walking them out. Sometimes it's the teacher that has the kids last. So like say if you didn't, like some people, I don't know, I think it's maybe one or two people that have a free period at the end. So they never have to walk the kids out. But if you had like a last period with children, you'd have to walk them out. And that would be you dismissing the kids. Like you had to physically walk with them to wherever your post was. So, I mean, that might sound a little confusing, but I hope I like explained it properly. Like they expected me to dismiss them and be at my post. So I need my jacket. So I leave my kids in the cafeteria. I go to the office and I go get my jacket. Why the fuck? All of them are kind of complaining and they have an attitude because it's taking too long to dismiss. Okay. And it's taking too long to dismiss because we just found out we were being dismissed 30 minutes ago in 30 minutes. And literally I can't leave my kids alone. Like that's an unspoken, not even, it is a spoken and unspoken rule in education. You don't leave kids unattended, period, no matter how old they are. So I'm going to get my stuff. And I hear Janet bitch ass talking about some, and Coach R is over here. Like, I don't know, like, where is she going? Like, I looked at Janet and I said, I'm going to get my jacket because do I not need it to be outside on dismissal? And she looked at me and said, oh, okay. Yo, I slapped her because don't talk about me in my face as if I'm not right there because at that point, yeah, you're going to get clocked. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, and Coach R is here. Why is she here? Bitch, I had to drop off my kid and go get my shit so I could do this unnecessary ass post that y'all making me do. Don't piss me off. I go, I get my jacket, I come back down, and she's still talking. All of them is still talking. Oh, this is taking forever. This is taking so long. Like, everybody's upset because it's taking long to dismiss. I don't give a fuck. Y'all should have y'all shit together. It's been cold in this building since fucking November. Y'all should have had a plan. Y'all should have had a contingency plan just in case it was approved for us to leave early. Y'all should have had a plan on what y'all would do for virtual if it got to that point. Y'all should have had a plan. Don't piss me off. All this shit should have been planned because every year you have a problem with the heat. Miss me with it. Okay, like y'all sound mad crazy right now. So whatever, we're finally getting dismissed. I forgot what it was in the end, but we ended up sitting there for an extra 20 minutes. Like, if I'm not mistaken, the kids probably got out at like 2:45, 3 o'clock. Could have just stayed till 4. Kids get dismissed. I'm walking with the kids, and this is where I was like, this can't be fucking happening. This can't be, this can't be a thing right now. I end up walking the kids out with Coach Danielle. Coach Danielle's kids typically walk a different direction. So, you know, we say bye, whatever, they turn the corner, making sure that we're watching them from afar. And then my kids are walking this way. So her kids kind of turn this way. My kids go up forward. Now, apparently there is a specific protocol on how you, like, which door you exit, which way you go. But like some of the kids don't walk in that direction. So some of them left and some of them, you know, went in a group. So as her kids leave, we still have my kids. Coach Danielle's walking with me. And then Heather seems to be having a situation. Like all I hear is Heather's voice.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like, nah, this shit fucking crazy. Like, nah, I want my shit. I want my shit.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Mind you, in front of them is Coach Caleb or Coach Kassan. He's dead in front of them. Okay, so it's him, my kids, me and Coach Danielle. And me and Coach Danielle are about half a block behind. You can hear it because she's that loud, but also we can't hear exactly what's going on because we're that far. Coach Caleb, okay, dead in front of them.
I want my drugs. Give me my shit. Give me my shit. Nah, one of y'all took my shit.
We get closer. Heather is arguing about the fact that she hid drugs in one of these developments because they're building like different new houses and stuff in that area. One of the houses has like this huge wooden thing. Like, I don't know. Hopefully I get a picture and I'll put it on the screen. But it's like this huge wooden thing that kind of blocks the property while they are like doing construction and shit. In the morning, she put her drugs in like one of the like wooden things. And now she went back there and she couldn't find it. Now, you guys are probably like, Ivana, what the? Yes, these kids hide their drugs every morning before they come to school because they know we do a TSA-like search every morning and we're going to find it and we're going to toss it. So what they do is they'll find a little nook and cranny in the neighborhood. They put their drugs there. At the school, they go, they pick it up, and they go. See, no wonder the neighborhood doesn't want them there. I wouldn't want them there either because are you fucking deranged? God forbid a dog or a child finds that shit, eats the drugs, and dies of an overdose. Like, that shit don't even make sense. What kind of drugs were they? I don't know. I think it was weed. I don't know. It could have been something else, whatever. Now, obviously, it's the entire team walking together for the most part. It wasn't the entire, like some of my kids also went the other direction with those other kids, but it's like a good amount. It's probably like 6 or 7 of them with Heather, just like amping the situation up. They're filming. They're literally capturing, like they're laughing. They think this is the funniest thing. Meanwhile, Heather is going off on these Hispanic construction workers and they don't even speak English. So she's literally on some,
where the fuck is my shit? Where's my drugs? Y'all some thieves. Nah, somebody gonna give me my shit right the fuck now. Fuck that shit. Who speaks Spanish? Who speaks Spanish? No, habla this, habla that.
like just trying, and I'm looking at her like, bro, relax. Me and Coach Danielle was just so shocked and confused. Caleb is sitting there watching and he turns around and he walks away and leaves us to deal with the shit by ourselves. That was nail number like 98. or maybe 99. The heat was 98. 99 was this situation right here, because for you to see us drowning and for you to see this situation escalate and it could have gotten way worse and you just turned around and walked away is fucking crazy. Literally, these kids are making a huge scene. These people cannot speak English, so they're kind of like trying to ignore her, but at the same time, it's like all they had to do was call the cops. Like, y'all niggas got unauthorized drugs on y'all. Like, it doesn't matter if weed is legal or not. You got a bunch of drugs that you claim are missing. That's a distribution charge, my guy. Like, you cannot just be selling drugs willy-nilly, whether they are legal or not, okay? I don't think weed being legal applies to people being street vendors, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't think so, especially as children. All of y'all are underage. Heather's the only one that's over the age of 18. So I don't know what implications she would face for that. But the point I'm trying to get at is it was an ugly scene. And regardless of the possession, you'll probably get a threats and or assault charge because you're sitting here cursing out these people, threatening to beat them up and shit over drugs that you hit on their property that they're working on. Be so fucking for real. Well, I'm telling you, that shit pissed me off so bad. That was probably one of the very few days that I can recall of actually genuinely being pissed off, because it's like, why would you leave us? Like, Caleb was literally right in front of, he saw the whole beginning of it. Okay, he was there and he knew the context, and he sat there and walked away on some, oh, not my business. I would never. That's some fucked up shit. Me and Coach Danielle trying to calm that shit down. Fucking Heather sitting there action Coach Danielle, how do you say this in Spanish? How do you say this in Spanish? And her dumb ass, Coach Danielle, really gonna sit there and fucking tell her. I'm like, bro, we gotta go. Y'all gotta go. Oh,
Why the fuck y'all following us?
Why the fuck y'all following us anyway?
like cursing us out now. It's like, bro, you already know it's our job to follow y'all during dismissal. So I don't even know why, like, y'all are doing too much.
Nah, like, go away, like, the fuck, like, y'all doing too much.
Just pure freaking madness. After that, they decided to instill a temporary early dismissal schedule. And every single day, the schedule was different, I guess, to allow for the kids to have all their classes at least within a week. And the schedule was all fucked up. Okay. It was all fucked up to the point where, like, there were multiple incidents because the schedule was fucked up. Like, at this point, you have deregulated kids on a deregulated schedule. Things are bound to happen, aka Heather and her drugs. Okay. But also with this new schedule, a lot of the kids didn't know what to do, how to do it, or where to go. A lot of the times we were finding out the schedule morning of. So it's like they expected us to call or text or make some sort of contact with these kids to let them know about the schedule change. And it's like, why don't you guys have a system-wide schedule like everyone else? Why don't you guys have a system phone like everywhere else? Why don't you guys have these children's emails? Do they not have school emails? Like, this shit don't make sense. I've never, ever in my life, even in the worst of worst schools that I've worked at, seen a school without a stable communication system to communicate with kids when emergency and large changes happen. These people literally would just go with the wind and expect the coaches to do everything. Oh, well, the coaches are going to contact the kids. The coaches are going to correspond with the kids. The coaches are going to get their kids, and we'll go from there. Like, no, that's not how it's supposed to be, especially if it's only just one coach. And maybe if it's coaches and co-coaches, but like, y'all didn't even have enough co or assistant coaches to even be doing that. So why do y'all think that shit makes sense? At bare minimum, you guys can have a fucking school system. Like, that is just the bare basic. Bare minimum, you can have heat too, but hey, I just lowered the standard. Look at me. I still got the disease, bitch. You never want to be in this place. You never want to have the disease, people, because the disease means that you at this point is normalizing caca. Okay, you think that this shit is regular. So I remember the name of the coach that I was referencing. It was Coach Daryl that I named him in part 1. That used to be with Coach K, that was also in my league. He really pissed me off the day after this because we were still continuing to do early dismissal, and he gonna look at me like, oh, well, next time, like, when we have to leave early, make sure your kids are ready. First of all, we were doing dance. The kids need to be changed. They like to roam. I'm all by myself. They need to get their stuff. It's not my fault, nor is it their fault. You people get on my goddamn nerves. It doesn't make sense how you guys be expecting people to know and do everything without being trained. And then you guys just be saying things without using your heads and having common sense. There's no lockers here. They have to go get their stuff. This is a last minute change. I wasn't even allowed to really tell them. I was following the rules. I'm sure all of you guys told your kids, but I like to follow protocols that people set forth. Anything that I'm told, I'm going to do. So I'm just sitting there like, I know you're not catching the attitude with me because we were late dismissing because my kids took too long. It's not their fault. It's not my fault. Y'all need to get y'all shit together and don't ever talk to me like that again because I've never been the fucking one. Like, that's how I know. Change. Okay, wolf. I've been a good person these past couple years. Let this happen a couple years ago, he would have got my mouth. Don't play. Like, what? Fuck you talking about next time? Hey, yeah. And I basically looked at him. I was just like, again, wasn't our fault. Oh, well, like, it's going to take as long as it's going to take. Like, they literally were rushed to going to find their stuff out of nowhere last minute. We only had 30 minutes to dismiss. That's not fair to me, and it's not fair to them. Oh, well, your kids need to learn to adapt. How about you stop fucking talking to me? Like, I literally just looked at him. I said, or how about people organize things that they're doing in a school? Everything is mad disorganized all the time. I don't have time. And he just kept talking, and I walked out. Like, stop talking to me. There's not, like, now you just sound dumb. I don't talk to dumb people. I'm sorry. And this is that passive aggressive shit that I'm talking about because I wasn't even aware niggas was really waiting for me to be able to dismiss. Nobody said anything to me. No one tried to come help me to see where my kids were, to see where I was. Like, niggas just kept sitting there talking shit and being mad. I don't give a fuck. Again, You gonna wait there, ho? There was another instance in which I got cursed out by numerous kids about their report cards, or was it progress reports? I think it was their report cards, because they were failing. Meanwhile, they're never in school. Heather was one of these kids. Now, I feel like there were some others that kind of tried to say something slick and I ignored them, but Heather literally had an entire breakdown of, oh, you my coach, you work for me, you're supposed to be here for me. How the fuck am I failing health? How the fuck am I failing this? Nigga, health is every Friday. You barely come on a Friday. If you do come, it's a random Tuesday. So that's why you're failing that. You're failing everything else because you're never here. You're not dumb. You do your work when you're here, but you're failing because you don't do shit. Like, you're failing because you're never here. Like, most schools have participation grades. You can't participate when you're absent. So you're failing because you don't come to school. Don't piss me off. Like, now, like, you're just talking. Like, now you just want to piss me off because, like, what are you talking about? She got so mad. She's doing, like, what I'm telling you, she's cussing me out from high heavens. This is the same story that I talked about on Instagram that sparked all of this, because I really wasn't even going to sit here and do these sit downs. It was just going to be one short little funny video, but then it blew up and I was like, all right, you know what? Let's do the full story times about this since y'all really want to talk about it, right? These kids were some of the worst kids I ever dealt with. And part of it was just like token few kids. She was one of those token few kids that horrible, like just horrible, disrespectful, rude on every accord that you could even think of. And I usually didn't have an issue with her, but when she would have an issue with anyone, it was just blown out of proportion to the point where it was just like, bruh, like, you would just be in a bad mood right after it. So she gets mad because, yeah, she's failing because she doesn't come to school, and she's like, oh, I'm her coach. It's because I'm not doing what I need to do to make sure that she passes. I can't make sure a ghost passes. Moving on. Okay? Now, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you already know what this led to. This led to same Heather yoking up a dean after I left. That's why I'm like, listen, if I do the aftermath, some people about to get in some shit. Because it's interesting. Y'all enabled the fuck out of Heather, and now look, Heather almost killed one of y'all. It's like, nah, she was, I mean, put hands on an adult, okay? A dean at that is absolutely crazy. From what I understand, she's no longer in the school, but still, like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, people need to understand, when you keep enabling certain behaviors, that's what it escalates to. This new schedule proved very weird and difficult. Because it was like everything was kind of cut short, but you didn't have every class. But then the next day you would have the classes that you didn't have yesterday. It was very weird. But one of these days where we had this schedule is when I had got into it with Melissa, Cassandra. I don't think Nala was really part of it. Samantha. So long story short, we had one of these days where it was a weird schedule and it was an early dismissal, which led to us having dance top of the morning. Obviously, I can't even get them to dance around 12 o'clock. I'm not going to get them to dance around 9 o'clock. But hey, I went up there. I'm waiting for the kids. A lot of the kids showed up like the last 10 minutes of class, including Melissa. Now, Melissa takes it upon herself to have this hoodie on or whatever. Like, she had like this hoodie or some shit on, and she was like in her pocket. She's like, yo, they don't check shit these days, yo. They don't be checking shit. And you got Cassandra, Nala, and Samantha just sitting there laughing like, haha, yo, like, for real, for real. I'm like, what is that?
Bro, mind your business. The fuck?
Like, damn, like, stay over there. It's nothing, bro. It's nothing. Stay over there.
What is it? Oh my God, like, yo, you being sure, and I'm just sitting there like, if you're gonna do something wrong, do it right. Y'all already know y'all not supposed to have shit on y'all, and then you have shit on you, and then you're making it hot. If you're gonna do something stupid, be smart. So I'm like, what is it? Oh my God, like, I'm not like, move. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I didn't even get on the walkie because they told us in situations like that, we go in the chat and we ask for a dean. So I go in the chat and I said, I need a dean. Nobody answers. Y'all already know, like I said, Melissa loves to roam, okay? Melissa goes and she roams back downstairs where arrival is still happening. And they call on the walkie like, Coach R, where's Melissa supposed to be? She's supposed to be in dance. However, she does need to be rechecked. So please have her checked and send her right back up. By this point, class is ending. We have to move to the next class or whatever. And I believe it was global. And it's funny because this entire time, she's not there. Okay, Melissa's not there. She's downstairs with whoever. They're getting her rechecked. The three of them,
oh my God, like, you really gonna snitch on Melissa?
Like, why would you snitch on Melissa? Like,
damn, like, it wasn't even nothing. The whole time they talking shit. The entire time as I'm escorting them to class. Because I had to escort them to every class if you don't remember, right? They get to class and they're still just popping shit.
Okay, just oh my god, like yo, like you think you really doing something? Like the fuck, like
The hell, like who you think you are? Like shit, we'll get a new coach in here real quick. Like we'll get you fired real quick.
That was Cassandra. It's the audacity for me. It's the audacity of a lot of these kids. And I understand a lot of kids like to show off for each other. I've seen it. You know, there's no issues with that. But my thing is, don't be sitting there bitching and crying about not passing and trying to get your life together. And I'm trying to come up with a strategy for you. You said you need a job, you need this, you need that. And again, I'm trying to help you with that. But then when you're not with me and you're with your so-called friends who don't even really like you, you want to sit there and turn up on, oh, we gonna get you fired. I'm not helping you anymore. What do you think this is? She wanted to go to Coach Danielle and be like, oh my God, can you ask Coach R to help me and like help me find a job and all that? Like, no, you're mean. Like, I just say it like that, but it's like, you're not about to be in my face crying and complaining because you need to get your life together or whatever. And then when you with your friends, you cussing me out and saying you gonna get me fired. That's not how this work. Like, that's not how this work. Like, how you gonna get me fired? Like, what? For what? Doing my job? Don't piss me off. So by this point, Melissa comes back up.
Oh, ha ha, that's why they ain't find nothing. You look dumb. Everybody look dumb. You look stupid. You thought they was going to find something.
I'm like, okay, like if they didn't find anything, they didn't find anything, but I knew you had something on you. And if that's the life you want to live, then live it. I really don't care, but I'm going to always do my job.
Oh my God, shut up. Shut up, bitch. Like, y'all out here doing too fucking much.
Just go off. I walk away because, again, I don't do back and forth with kids. But that shit truly pissed me off. And that day, I just happened to have my one-on-one with fucking Janet. And I genuinely didn't want to have it, but I didn't have a choice. I go in there. We start talking about the situation. She's like, you know, thank you for actually having her rechecked. Her last coach basically got in trouble for something similar. She called for a dean because she suspected one of them had something, but then she was hiding the stuff and she didn't want to let us know like who had what on them. So, you know, we ended up having to fire her because she was covering for the kids. And I'm like, that story doesn't really sound right in my opinion. Like, I don't know the girl and stuff, but it's like, they always told me like bad things about her. And part of it was always like she was hiding stuff for the children, even though she wasn't supposed to be, obviously, because they're children. Why are you hiding drugs and vapes and stuff for kids? But that story never made sense to me because I'm like, she called for a dean, but then didn't want to snitch on the kid that was doing what she said they were doing. That's a little strange to me, but I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, like I'm an adult. Like at the end of the day, you want to sit here and have all the stuff on you. Don't bring that shit to school. Like, just don't. Like, don't be dumb about it, whatever. So we were talking about that. I had my one-on-one with her. I didn't really say nothing to her because I did not trust her. I kept all of my complaints and reservations to Principal Click Clack, Caleb, because I ended up having my one-on-ones with them literally like the next day. Like, it was weird. Like, I had all my evaluations in one clump. Like, it was so like irritating. And then what's crazy is that day I was also supposed to have training, but it got canceled because of the schedule. Now you guys are probably like, Ivana, what training? I thought you weren't trained. I wasn't trained because like I just said, that shit was rescheduled. The first training I had was just about what is the school? What do we do? Blah, 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 blah. List 10 things that you think make a good employee. That was the fucking training. It was nothing about anything. And then she sent me a bunch of email documents about, oh, this is going to help you, you know, figure out like different things and different cultures and codes and stuff in the building. Like, it was just like, it was not training. Okay. So that shit ends up getting rescheduled. I end up having my, you know, sit downs with Caleb. And you know what? I will say this is where I fucked up. I should have told Caleb, like, you ain't shit for leaving me with these kids when you saw something was going on. You could have helped de-escalate, and you didn't, and you walked away. I didn't say that. I told him about everything else. And I was just like, yeah, like, I hate to say it, but this is the first time. I feel like I don't have a bond with these kids. Like, I've never not established a bond with any of my children. I've never felt like I didn't like the kids that I had to directly deal with. And this place has started to make me hate school and hate teaching. Like, I said it just like that. I was very blunt and honest, and he was like, damn. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, is there anything, you know, we could do to make it better? I said, the fact that you guys be sitting here, like, enabling this shit is crazy. I don't understand it. Like, half these kids need to be sent home when they're on 10 instead of being able to sit here and just have multiple codes, you know, whatever. And he's like, okay, you know, I think we should, you know, work on that. Like, let's try to, like, you know, if the kids are tripping or if they're doing too much or whatever, you know, you get to just, like, send them home, da da da. And I'm like, I already know that's not going to happen because that's something that they always say we can't do. We can't just send kids home because they're tripping. These are not regular kids. kids, it's not regular tripping. We're talking about like throwing desks and chairs and standing on windowsills and shit. Like, I think we should be able to send them home if that's what they're doing. And this is why I said I genuinely don't want to drag the entire network, because I think other schools do things differently. Like, for example, when the other staff was here for training, right? A lot of them were talking about a lot of the things that they do to de-escalate situations. And one of them was, they don't let the kids in the school past a certain time. So they do have a real cutoff time, is that they just send them home. And all of us in Brooklyn was looking like, the fuck they send them home? Like, we was just we don't do that. Like, and I'm like, see, yeah, they do have different rules for different fools in these other schools. Like, I wish I could send them home. Like, we can't send them home, and it's just like, yeah, like I can't. Like, I can't. The entire network is different rules for different fools. I'll say that, especially when it comes to that site. Definitely different rules for different fools. They let certain kids do certain things. Certain kids get away with certain things, and I don't like it. And I explained to him that there was a situation where a few of my kids came to the school late due to the bus. Now, we had a few snowstorms on the East Coast that did result in school closing or delays, etc. There was one day where the snow was actually really fucking bad, and school was still open. These kids literally risked their lives to come to school. I risked my life to come to school. Y'all already saw my tire. Y'all saw how my tire was fucked up when they had to do regents. But if I'm not mistaken, it might have been the week before or the week after that where there was a real snowstorm, and a lot of the kids were coming in like super late. There was like 3 of the kids that were on a specific bus that was very, very late, and they told me like, hey coach, we're gonna be late, let them know, so they can still let us in. I let these people know, and they sat there and they sent these kids home. When I'm telling you, these were the best students in the class, the best grades, best behavior. One of them actually is not supposed to be sent home because she has a special circumstance in which she's always supposed to be let into the school no matter what. And they still sent them home. Talk about some cutoff time. Did I not just tell you they're always letting these kids in at any fucking time, and we don't have a cutoff time? And we were so shocked in training when other schools were talking about they actually send the kids home. They don't have any morals or fucking standards. It is different rules for different fools. If they like you, they'll let you in. Because why is it that same fucking day Heather came in, and she came in like maybe 30 minutes after they were sent home and they let Heather in? I don't give a fuck what the reasoning is. If you're going to let one in, let all of them in. I don't care. I don't care. They try to justify this by telling me, oh, well, since Heather has shaky attendance, we try to let her in whenever we can. I don't give a fuck. What about the kids that's been doing what they're supposed to do all the time, that don't crash out, that don't throw tantrums, that don't cry, bitch, and complain when things don't go their way? You could miss me with all of that shit where you're trying to tell, oh, well, it's because she has shaky attendance. Are you like, what? That is crazy. I was just like, what? Like, no. Like, I was so upset. I was so fucking upset. This is not the first time. Obviously, I already talked about how one of the students was able to do volleyball. Meanwhile, I had kids that wanted to be in volleyball, and Coach Danielle has kids that want to be in dance, and they weren't allowed to be switched. Same thing with the boys. There was kids that wanted to do flag football, but were stuck in basketball, wanted to do basketball, but were stuck in flag football. They weren't allowed to switch. I don't understand how that makes any logical sense. To add insult to injury, there are certain kids that can just get sent home whenever they ask, okay? There's certain kids where it's like, oh, I don't feel well, call my mom. And you call their mom, they let them go home. Meanwhile, okay, one of my best students, I'm talking about, again, top of the class, super sweet, super nice, special circumstances as well, right? I happen to be absent this day. This more than likely was like that weekend of Martin Luther King weekend. It was probably like that Thursday or Friday or something like that. I ended up being absent. She had to leave early because either I think she just didn't feel well. She genuinely didn't feel well. They did not let her go home. They did not call. They kept giving her the runaround, and they made her stay. And she felt miserable the entire day. And she told me about it the next day, and I felt awful. And I went to one of them, like I went to maybe one or two of the deans, and they were like, oh, well, no, she never came up to us to ask us to send her home or anything. You guys are fucking liars. Like, you're fucking liars. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean she never came up to you? She would never lie about something like that. Let me tell you, the sweetest kid. Additionally, like, you have to be real. Like, who's going to really lie about something like that? Like, nobody's going to lie about, like, oh, yeah, I wanted to go home. They didn't let me. So I was just, like, really, like, I didn't feel well all day. Like, that trust me, that child would never lie like that. So that shit, like, I was like, yeah, I don't like it. It's different rules for different fools. Like, you're not about to be out here letting some of them in and letting some of them, and mind you, this was multiple occasions because there was multiple snowstorms. Multiple occasions, they would send these kids home when they came late, but then let all these kids in that cause problems every single day into the building. It doesn't make any sense. It's very interesting because after this incident with Melissa and her having something on her, we had a meeting in the morning. Okay, mind you, we had meetings every morning, but we had a meeting particularly about the kids bringing in substances and things slipping through the cracks because apparently we weren't doing a good job during arrival. But so I don't know how I completely forgot to mention this in the video. However, when we had that meeting, they were sitting there talking about we may have to check the kids again during the day because a lot of them keep sneaking things in and stuff. And I'm like, do y'all think this is jail for real? Like, what the fuck am I, a corrections officer? You want me to shake down the classroom? You want me to pat down the kids after they're already in the building? I already had to do it every morning for the most part because we were so understaffed, and my league was the only one that finally had everyone they needed, but we were so understaffed, so they always had us do a morning arrival. The other leagues barely ever did it compared to us. So it's like, bro, I'm doing this shit every morning. These kids are rowdy, and then you want me to stop and frisk them? Please, go to holy hell. Let's let you guys know what arrival looked like. I didn't talk too much about arrival, but I do need to talk about this because one day I ended up having a panic attack because of arrival. Because what does arrival consist of? We're doing TSA-like searches and none of us have been trained. So that's why things are getting slipped through. Use your head. Stop being stupid. But also, it's because there's music blasting. The staff is twerking, laughing, playing. Niggas is on their phone doing n'importe quoi instead of actually checking these kids. That's another reason. But the environment is so chaotic and so overstimulating. And one day, like, I got so mad, like, I almost cursed Coach Danielle out because she's like the DJ. She be the one handling the music. And one day she just kept switching the music off. And that shit ticked me off. Like, you ever like be hearing a song like in the beginning and you getting into it and then they just switch it? Like, she would do that shit all day, all the time. Or sometimes the Bluetooth connection would be out, so it would just go out. Like, it was so, oh my God. Like, I'm getting overstimulated just thinking about it because it's like, yo, just fucking play one song. Just like, I got so mad. Like, I looked at her like, yo, stop that shit. Like, I dead looked at her like, yo, bruh, like, the fuck? Like, just play your song. Like, this shit is overstimulating. And honestly, it wasn't even just that. It was added to the fact that that morning in particular, they had us have a fun Friday in which we played volleyball at 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to fucking play volleyball. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't. Like, and they got us in the gym. It's loud. It's cold. It's so much shit going on. And then to go from that to this overstimulating arrival, it was just too much. Having a morning meeting / January birthday celebration, and these people had the nerve, gall, audacity to forget my birthday. My birthday was the day we came back from break. I was not at work. However, y'all know when the fuck my birthday is because it is on the system in which we get paid. It tells us all the people's birthdays every day that you open the app, and whatever, they didn't say anything to me. They almost like left me out of the celebration, and then the social worker was like, y'all forgot Coach R. Shout out to you for that, sis. And you know, it was cute or whatever, but I didn't want it at that point. I ended up having a panic attack, and I haven't had a panic attack in years, and I haven't been on meds in years. So it was just like, I was doing so fucking well until I got to this place. Like, that was another reason I was like, yeah, I can't, like, this is too much all the time. Like, no. So as we're having early dismissal, you know, things get way worse, right? Now, you guys are probably like, Ivana, how can it get any worse than this? Did I not tell y'all to remember that we're going to be talking about the pipes? Well, one day the pipes burst. One fucking cold ass morning, I hop on NJ Transit from Brick Church Station to New York Penn Station to hop on the queue to head to this school. We got this really weird message talking about when you come in, don't clock in, sign in on the book, blah, blah, blah is going to have the book. And it's like, what the fuck is actually going on? Like, why do we need to sign in? At that point, I should have known to turn my ass back around. Okay, but I didn't. Immediately after this, I go to Starbucks, get my daily fix, and I see a majority of staff from the school, which is very unusual. Usually I'll see 1 or 2 people from the school and we'll walk together, or I see them walking ahead of me. But this time it was like 3 or 4 people. And I'm like, I walk out of Starbucks. I'm like, what's going on? You could go home, girl. And I'm like, what? Go home? Like, nah, like, we out. Like, we about to get back on the train. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, like, yeah, the school's flooded. What do you mean the school's flooded? The school's flooded. Look. Shows me their phone. They're on FaceTime. You see multiple people here on the screen, and you just see water behind them. Like I swear to God, it's Niagara Falls. And I'm just sitting there like, oh shit. Not because the school's flooded, but you guys are really dumb. You came to school early. You sat in the building with a waterfall going on around you, and you still chose to sit there. Y'all are slow. Y'all are really slow. Like, I wouldn't even be stepping foot in that building. My mama got one child and I respect myself. Respected that way. You cannot pay me to walk into a flooded building. The fact that y'all came to work early and sat there and saw the flooding and just continued to sit there until you were told to go home, absolutely insane. That's when I realized, oh no, I can't be in this environment full of idiots. Yeah, pure idiots. Like I can't. Why? At that point, I said, yeah, it's time to wrap it up. When I'm telling you, I was looking for jobs like crazy after that day because y'all got me fucked up. I spent, okay, 14, is it 14.75 or 14.25, however much, plus the $3 to and from. I need my shit reimbursed. Of course, it never got reimbursed. They didn't give a fuck, okay? Now the school flooded. So all of us start making it home. Why the fuck they gonna send another message in the group chat, talk about something? We'll be virtual today. Make sure you call the students to ensure they don't show up to the building because there's no school. Besides the fact that I'm bipolar and I have anxiety, and at this point, this entire situation is deregulating, I'm an adult. Okay, I've been in therapy. I've done the work to maintain calm and stop slapping bitches because growth. This shit pissed me off to high heavens. You're telling me not only does the school have no heat and we've been leaving early, specifically because we have no heat, now the school is a freaking swimming pool. All right. At this point, we could swim there instead of Brighton Beach. And instead of saying, hey, we're going to close the school for the day, you're saying, go back home. We're going to do virtual. Now, what time are we starting virtual? How are we going to do virtual? Most of us commute. Some of us drive. Whether you're driving or taking public transportation, a majority of us is going to take at least an hour to get home and settle in. And for me, it's more than an hour. It was about an hour and a half. And that's when the route was actually going the way it's supposed to. But a lot of times the trains were late. In the morning, the trains suck. NJ Transit trains run really smooth in the morning from 6 to 9, real great, maybe every 30 minutes or so. However, from 9 to like 2 o'clock, they run on the hour. And then sometimes they just be canceled because they don't be that many people on them. And then they pick back up from 3 to like 6, 7 o'clock. That's when they'll run a little bit more frequently. So I'm just like, at this point, it's like 9:30 or something. My train ends up getting canceled. Now I got to try to find a way to get home to do this virtual shit. All the while you want me to call and text these children to make sure they don't come to school. This is when I started texting them with my personal number. A lot of you guys were asking like, how is it that you had to text these kids? Like, why is it that they had your number to be cursing you out? It's because of fucking dumbass situations like this. I said it numerous times. They don't even have a communication system. They expected us to contact these kids. We did get a Zoom number. However, when you're moving around and shit, like the Zoom number, like they all go based off of connectivity. I am on the fucking train. We're going through tunnels. I'm losing service every stop. I cannot use the Zoom. Every time I'm sending something via Zoom, it's bouncing back. So I ended up having to use my real number. That was a little bit more stable. Even that shit was bouncing back. I tried to make sure I texted everyone to let them know, like, hey, we're virtual. We're virtual. Here's the link. We're virtual. Here's the link. Like, oh my God, so fucking messy. By the time I got home, it was like 10:30. No, I'm lying. It was like 11 something by the time I got home. And we're trying to do this virtual session. Nightmare. A fucking nightmare. As a matter of fact, from this point onward, okay, we ended up having to do virtual. And let me just tell you right now, I was so happy that I never had to see these people ever again, because from there, I started making my escape plan. I vowed to never go back to this school again. Now, after that, I really started making my escape plan. I started to apply to so many different positions. I secured one like the day before. No, I'm lying. I secured one the same exact week that we were virtual, but I didn't start until like a week or so later. I stayed for one day and then I resigned the next day. But nonetheless, yeah, it comes to a point where you have to respect yourself, right? No heat is one thing. And I'm mad at myself for even staying at a job with no heat, because the fuck, like I literally grinded the hell, okay, out of life to get myself out of the hood. And even when I lived in the hood, I had heat. Why would I work a job that ain't had heat? That's absolutely crazy. Like, and I need everyone watching this, like, whether you know about the school that I'm discussing, you still work at that school, or you work at a similar one, live it that too, bro. Like, lift your head up. Start thinking, like, does this make any sense? Like, because it starts to get to a point. It's one thing to tolerate something because of a paycheck, but it's another thing to completely devalue yourself by accepting piss poor conditions continuously, with no real reason when there's other options out there, right? So it's funny because we ended up having to do virtual, and the only reason I actually even had enough time to interview and do anything was because these kids did not care. You guys would think, they're virtual, this should be easier, their grades should be up, all they got to do is show up. No, a majority of them never showed up to class. My Zoom was empty most of the time, and when it wasn't, pure chaos. Right.
Bro, just got crumbs all over her bed. Talkie crumbs. I'm gonna put crumbs all over your face. Bro. I'm sick, y'all. I'm home. I'm in my bed. Can't nobody call no code on me today.
Actually, we can call a code in the chat.
No, nobody can get her. Voice pack. Y'all can't. Y'all don't got no walkie-talkies.
We got a chat.
All right, y'all. That's all y'all got. But we're not gonna
I'm gonna step in here.
She can step in here or she can match right here. Get her in the spot.
Oh, let me go send this to her and be like, all right.
Get her in the spot.
No. We need to start this lesson. What's the lesson on?
Why can't I say mindfulness? And there's the door to
Nobody wants a room tour. We're in class. Oh my God. First of all, y'all need to get this work done. Y'all haven't done nothing all day. Bro.
Yeah. Coach, how do you mute them?
I wish. I really do. I've been trying to figure out how to mute them for mad long. I can't.
We doing that task that's in there.
Like, can you imagine being more stressed at home on virtual than you are in person? The director of education or somebody higher up is the one that had the controls, hence why we couldn't mute the kids and they weren't able to hand us the control. The kids that had paras weren't able to have support because the paras couldn't get on because they didn't have a school email because they're contractors. Just chaotic. How the fuck y'all stressing me out in my whole house? Like, then of course attendance was low, so they was getting on us about that. It's like, oh my God, just fix the fucking heat and get your shit together, bro. We wouldn't have these problems. Like, literally, I took this time to file my nonprofit paperwork. By this point, I had already filed it, I think, like end of January. So I think the require, like, I already saw the writing on the wall. I was like, yeah, let me just get my life together. Like, I had used one of my entire paychecks. That shit was expensive, bro. To file my nonprofit. I'm gonna put everything into my nonprofit, and it is working very well, might I add. Shout outs to those of you guys who have donated or came to a class. I appreciate it, or just even followed the page. And yeah, like that shit, it kicked me. It kicked me into high gear and made me realize, like, Ivana, what the fuck is wrong with you? What are you doing? Like, and it's, I mean, I guess I'm grateful for the experience. It gave me content. I didn't expect it to. I didn't want to sit here and make this a series. This was nowhere in my planning of things to do, but I guess. Like, there was times I had to just turn the volume completely down on my shit. Like, the way they did virtual, it was like us as coaches, we had to like still kind of be there the first 5, last 5. I had to stay on the entire time because the kids weren't there. So I was sitting there consistently texting them, telling them to come on, telling them, and they would just ignore my messages. It was a nightmare. I'm not about to sit here struggling, feeling like shit for some kids I didn't even really build a bond with, for real. Like, with the exception of a few. And what really made me mad is the ones that I thought I built a bond with, they were the ones that really didn't show up because there was no point. I had one kid literally text me. Mind you, she had pretty good grades, but I'm sure they slipped real bad after that because she just did not show up for virtual. And the virtual was like a week or so, like a week and a half. And it's like, she was like, oh, well, I want to go back to school and da-da-da. Like, you want to go back to school to gallivant in the halls? I'm fucking confused. Nigga, just show up on the shit. She's always like, oh, well, I got to work. Like, what are you talking about? Like, if you were in the school building, you'd be in school. Like, y'all, yeah. I was just tired of fighting. Everything was a fight. I'm not about to fight every day. I'm not about to argue every day. I don't even argue with my mans. Why would I argue with a bunch of kids that can't even read a clock? Don't know the difference between 2 and 2. Don't know the difference between there and there. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, I bowed out gracefully, and I'm happy I did. And then they tried to get us to go back to the school within like a week of everything. So I believe there was like a break, and then the idea was to come back right after break, and with all the damage, okay, like the thing is, since I can't out the school, I can't even show you guys like the videos that I have and stuff. Even if it was on Patreon, like it's hard to redact, so I'm trying to figure out how to do it so I can post certain things on Patreon. There's no way that amount of damage would have been fixed in 2 weeks, especially since they claim there's no money and all of this extra shit, right? Nonetheless, they made us come back the day, like, break was over, and I was like, yeah, y'all got me fucked up, because they were talking about some, we gotta share bathrooms with the kids. Now, if any of you guys are watching this and you do not work in a school setting, the reason that this is an issue is not only because children are sallow, okay, they're dirty, but also because it is a thing where you're not supposed to use the same bathroom as students, period. That's why there's always staff bathrooms in school or settings where there's children. You should not be using the same bathroom as them at all, single stall or not. So I'm just like, yeah, y'all, it's clipped. Like, what are y'all even doing? I don't even know how these people keep getting renewed for any of their stuff, because no, somebody's getting paid off, in my personal opinion. Everything was fixed, but not the bathrooms, not the gym. And God only knows what crackhead they paid in Brooklyn to fix that goddamn school, because I know there's mold. Like, I don't trust those people. I love myself enough to not put myself through that nonsense. At that point, I drew the line. I was like, I'm not going back in there. Like, y'all are tripping. Like, this is a hazard. There's no way y'all got that shit fixed that quick. Y'all could barely, shit, it's been taking y'all fucking 1,000 years to fix the heat. Boy, bye. So what's very unfortunate about this entire situation is, had someone been able to stay with me and onboard me for a month, the kids really wanted to dance, I had better communication with these people, I would have genuinely stayed bare minimum till June. But this shit just became too unbearable way too quick. All in all, there are some stories that I did not go over because, to be quite honest with you, it would embarrass too many people that I actually care about. All right. So all in all, this experience helped me realize that I am better than I think I am. I am way too overqualified to be at a majority of these schools. And it's okay to give up, or it's okay to put yourself first, even when you think you may be letting others down, because who's going to do for you but you? At the end of the day, yeah, it sucks that I didn't stay till the end of the year. It sucks that I won't be graduating these kids, but I genuinely don't care. I've literally only thought about a token few kids, like such as Catherine. I haven't really thought about these kids since I left. I've been super happy, and that's how I knew I had to get out of there. It doesn't matter if I do an assignment for a week, 6 months, 2, 3, 8 years, I always miss my kids, to the point where like I literally be shedding tears on how much I'm going to miss my kids. I'm not going to miss these kids at all. I did not miss these kids. Yeah, there's 5 kids, and y'all know exactly who y'all are, that I actually care about still, that I think about on occasion. Other than that, I don't miss those kids. I don't miss that school. I don't miss the commute. I don't miss not a damn thing. The people I still talk to them. So it is what it is. But in a general sense, this experience was extremely traumatic for me. I'm not even going to hold you. I feel like my body went through it more than my mind did. And I do think that doing this entire series helped me cope with it a lot better, because it helped me rationalize everything. And it truly helped me seek others that went through something similar in this school and in other schools to help me understand that I was not fucking tripping. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really hope you guys enjoyed all of this. If I do an additional part, I might do something like the aftermath, but don't count on it, because honestly, again, I'm tired of talking about this. And the aftermath, I don't know. I don't think it's been that bad. I feel like, actually, it has been that bad. I genuinely feel like if I do an aftermath, it's going to get too many people in some shit. And I don't want to get anybody in anything, because my videos have already caused a lot of drama for a lot of people, because, people want to bully like adults as adults and shit. So I'm just going to leave that here. But with that being said, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. We have some vlogs and story times coming up on this channel. Make sure you guys follow for more. Check that QR code for everything you guys always consistently ask me about. And with that being said, I'm going to see y'all next time. Bye.